You're with Newsmakers as we set the scene on the National Railway Museum, rolling into town in 2013. We are with John Peterson and Colin Dash. Now, come 2013, what are some of the showpiece exhibits that we can expect to see at Ferrymead? I suppose we should start with the royal carriages, Colin. Tell us about these.
Yes, well, they are quite unique. The main royal carriage, which is the one used in the last royal tour, which is 1953-54, was first built in 1934 and rebuilt on a couple of occasions to the standard that was needed for the latest royal tour in 1953, which goes back a wee bit now. And that was only used in the South Island. They had a North Island carriage and a South Island carriage, and this is the South Island one. It's at present being restored. It's a big job. The railways had used it for other purposes, and so now we've got to get back to the royal look and standards. I don't know whether we'll get the Queen out to open it or not. It would be a nice thought, but it would be nice to get even a member of the royal family out to re-inaugurate it.
Do we know if the Queen enjoyed the carriage back in the 50s?
She did congratulate the railways on the way they ran their trains and the comfort of them, so yes, she did comment on them. So.
Did her train run on time, do we know?
Oh, it would have to, wouldn't it? It'd be heads rolling if it didn't.
What are some of the other key exhibits that are being worked on, Colin?
Well, we have a wide variety of equipment there, locomotives, rolling stock and all sorts of things. And the royal carriage will probably be the key one from that point of view, but the locomotive side, we have the first steam locomotive actually built in New Zealand there, which was built at Addington Workshops here in Christchurch. And we also have the last locomotive built at the railway workshops, which is a diesel and built at Hillside. Okay. And so they'll be sort of era concepts of what happened. But on top of that, we've got a representative collection of rolling stock, freight wagons, boxcars.
And how many of them do you envisage will actually be operational at Ferrymead in a few years' time? Will people be able to ride on them?
A lot will be exhibits only. Yeah. Whether we use the royal cars as a running exhibit, I don't know. It would be possibly only for a special occasion, but most of them will be usable, but not necessarily being used as customer vehicles or whatever. Yeah. That would be the concept at the moment anyway. Sure.
What is it about train spotters? I mean, what is the fascination with things to do with rail?
Well, Michael, I'll ask you. You're a train spotter.
I am, but I don't really understand why I am. What's the fascination? What's the magic?
Well, they're big, they're mechanical, they harken back to an era when things were simpler and more straightforward. They were state-of-the-art at the day, and still represent a feeling, I guess, as much as anything else. And to see them operate and to see them out on particularly out on an open line when you are true train spotting, you see a steam locomotive heading up to Arthur's Pass. It's pretty impressive. It's very, very impressive, belching smoke and making noises that just don't exist anywhere else.
Compared to other metropolitan areas around New Zealand, does Christchurch have a higher proportion per capita of train enthusiasts? Are we quite a hotbed for train spotting?
Well, there are three of us here.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know whether there's a good answer to that. That would take more research than we've done. I can tell you that we conducted a research study several years ago that showed that the support in the Canterbury community for a National Railway Museum was something like 75% of the population indicated they either would definitely or probably visit a National Railway Museum at Ferrymead Heritage Park. So the support for a museum from that viewpoint, and I would suspect a lot of those people would consider themselves train spotters. So yeah, there's a huge percentage.
In the workshops at Ferrymead, how many volunteers do you have, working on these projects?
Well, currently we work on probably 2 days a week. There's the Thursday group, as they're known, which is the retired people, such as myself. And we don't go too fast on preservation because, we've got plenty of time. But the other days we have a Saturday work group, which do some of the heavier bits and pieces, locomotives and things like that. And Sunday's our operating day. But all told, we have a membership of the society, the Canterbury Railway Society, of somewhere around about 140 people. Right. And of those, a good half of them are active.
Fantastic, yeah. Are you always on the lookout for more volunteers?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Woodwork skills would be useful, would they, or?
Not necessarily, because schools don't always teach practical skills now, but we can do that. So we have the equipment there to do carpentering, metalwork, whatever. Yeah. And we're finding a lot of the junior members we're getting are more practical children, boys in particular, that want to build things, want to work on steel, wood, whatever, and they find themselves a great job there.
Yeah. 2013 is going to be a very significant year for Christchurch, isn't it, on the anniversary front?
It is. Anniversary of the AMP Society, the Botanical Gardens, Christchurch City Council first sitting as a city council 150 years ago, and the Railway Museum on top of that to top it all off. So it will be a good year. Yeah.
And the museum will certainly be a great focal point. Do you think it will be an international tourist attraction for New Zealand?
That's what our research and our plan is, absolutely. It will add to the tourism attractions in Christchurch and Canterbury, not only that internationally but also nationally, and perhaps even more importantly, as far as the South Island is concerned, add to the educational attractions that are in Christchurch, so that Christchurch will continue to become a huge mecca as far as South Island school children coming to find out about heritage and arts and culture and so forth.
Sure. Just a very quick comment on something I read in the press recently, which I thought was most interesting. A lot of the exhibits in the museum won't be all gleaming and shining and sparkly. You believe in authenticity, right, when it comes to how a carriage looks?
Well, there are two schools of thought. One is you can make something look like it just came off the showroom floor, and there's some attraction in that. Yeah. But probably as attractive, if not more so, is showing the way it actually was used and the way that it looked in service. Yeah. And that doesn't mean dirty. It means obviously clean and polished, but not polished within an inch of its life, because that just isn't the real world.
Yeah. Rail carriages don't like to be airbrushed, I think we can safely assume.
None of us do, Michael.
No, exactly. All the very best with the project. We'll keep tabs with you on progress. If you want to check out the museum and how it develops, go to nzrailmuseum.com. Thank you very much for your company. Thanks for yours. See you next time. Good night.